What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team, stand up! We have some very interesting educational-ish coming into the factor at the moment. As soon as this video was uploaded, bro, I had so many people link me this bitch, bro. And I swear, I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with flight crew right now. I was the only one, I swear I thought I was the only one that did this shit. Now, okay, let's keep it 100 flight crew. We all see those sexual moments in the movies, right? And it just makes you kind of want to either watch that bitch again or just kind of like maybe pause or take a flick or some shit because that image is just stuck in your head, bro. I don't know how many different types of movies, bro, but it was just certain types, bro. They be having some badass females, and sometimes, you know, you get a little cleavage slip or maybe a little ass shot or whatever, bro. A nigga be so slick and pause and go back to that movie constantly, all the time on Netflix, and it was so crazy, bro, because I used to share my Netflix account and shit, long story short, back in high school. Like, all of my fucking homeboys will always wonder why the fuck would I always watch these 3 or 4 certain movies, but I would just never tell them. I would just always say that's probably like some glitch in Netflix. I am always watching a whole bunch of shit. So hopefully right now they happen to not be watching this video because I may get exposed. Hopefully not, because that shit will be trending. But we're gonna be checking out the top 10 most paused movie moments that have ever happened in history, man. Let's get it, man. By the richest. You guys know how they rocking the educational #1 ish on the channel.
Gore,
site.
nudity, gaffes, and Easter eggs. There's a lot of reasons people pause a movie. Take that scene from She's the Man, where Amanda Bynes flashes everyone to prove she's a girl. We bet a lot of people are still pausing that to see if they can see anything. Spoiler alert, you can't. However, apply a little freeze frame to these following films and you'll definitely see a lot.
Real talk.
It's why these films are known as some of the most paused around. Yet before we show you where to hit the pause button, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
Yo, why is she looking like all sexual in the screen, my nigga?
If we're being honest, this film is only well known because of one very graphic scene. Yes, we're talking about the moment one of Consex's scanners has his head exploded like an overripe tomato. It was the era of VHS, so home audiences quickly figured out when to hit the pause button at just the right moment. Even paused, the special effects look pretty good. That scanners scene has stood the test of time and gets mentioned every now and then.
Wow.
Psycho.
Psycho.
A thriller classic, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho ends with us seeing Norman Bates finally locked up in police custody. While Norman sits there, we hear his mother's voice ranting on inside his head. The scene ends with Norman smiling up at the camera before switching to a new scene. If you pause at just the right moment, you can see a skull superimposed over Norman's face. Fans wore out their pause buttons trying to get their VHS tapes to stop at just the right moment. You might even say it drove some of them crazy. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Actress Phoebe Cates was big in the 1980s for her role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and that didn't hurt. Perhaps one of the movie's most famous scenes, fans everywhere were pausing like crazy when it came to Cates emerging from the pool in that red bikini. Removing her top, you could literally hear the click of the VHS machines as they came to a halt, freezing the actress's bare breasts on screen. The rest of the movie is pretty good, but we bet any cassette copies floating around probably have a decent wear spot when it comes to
they covered it up with a leaf! Duh!
Total Recall.
It's YouTube.
If 2 are good, then 3 must be better, right? It's a scene so legendary that references are made in today's sitcoms and internet hoaxes are even created to mimic it. Naturally, the moment we're talking about is when Arnold Schwarzenegger comes across the 3-breasted prostitute in Total Recall. Men and teenage boys everywhere wore out their pause buttons as they froze the rather humorous image on their televisions. Was it 2 real breasts and a 3rd fake one? Or were all 3 prosthetic?
Who knows, man?
The Cabin in the Woods. If you saw Cabin in the Woods in theaters, then you likely didn't have enough time to take in the full effect of the scene where scientists and researchers are basically betting on monsters. Specifically, we're talking about the whiteboard and the names on it. Flashing up for only a few seconds, home audiences have been pausing this moment since 2012 to see just what was written down. It turns out various monsters that have been created to take part in the ritual include things as strange as a unicorn, the sugar plum fairy, a snowman, and Kevin. Possibly a nod to the cannibalistic serial killer from Sin City. Oh, Kevin. Basic Instinct. Probably one of the hottest and most controversial scenes that ever was included in the production of a film. If you aren't familiar with that scene involving Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, then you must not own a TV or a computer.
What? That's bullshit. I'm not familiar with it.
Being interrogated by police. Steamy to begin with, things get really hot and pause buttons really worn out when the actress crosses her legs, revealing that she isn't wearing underwear. The hype generated by the media and the shocking reality that Sharon Stone actually flashed every time the cameras made this one of the most paused moments ever. Boogie Nights.
She better be
It's
clean
not always
too,
female
man.
nudity that gets the pause feature used. Take Boogie Nights, for example. Sure, this film about the porn industry had its fair share of naked women, but it was the scene at the end that had people reaching for the remote to freeze things. Of course, we're talking about that infamous moment Mark Wahlberg's character, Dirk Diggler, drops his drawers and reveals a rather enormous prop. It reportedly took 2 weeks to make the fake penis, and those who worked on the film said it was originally a lot bigger. Yikes.
I don't even know that shit, man.
Movies based on comic books are legendary for having treasures hidden throughout, and Man of Steel was no exception. If you saw it in theaters, then you likely missed a moment that gave a nod to another famous DC character.
Wow.
What do we mean? Well, we're talking about the fight between Superman and General Zod. When the two go into space, they come across a satellite. Not just any satellite, it's labeled with the name of Wayne Enterprises. Basically, crack for comic book nerds everywhere. This paused moment proved other superheroes lived in the same world and hinted at a possible collaboration in future films.
Wow.
Fight Club. The first time you watch Fight Club, you might just think you are either seeing things or your television is glitching. Why? Well, it looks like there are characters flickering in and out occasionally. No, you're not hallucinating. Those are actually very brief shots of Brad Pitt's character Tyler Durden being inserted quickly. In fact, he briefly flashes up on the screen a few times before we officially met him. This has caused fans of Fight Club to do their best to pause the movie at each of these moments to catch Pitt's mini cameos.
Wow.
The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens?
It introduced new characters, brought out some of the old guards, and killed off a fan favorite. Generally, fans liked The Force Awakens, but its ending left us with a lot of questions and a bit of pausing.
Really?
What do we mean? Well, in the final scene, Rey comes across Luke Skywalker. No words are exchanged, yet many fans were left freezing the image of Skywalker on the hill because they think that he's standing next to is significant. Is that a gravestone next to him? If it is, whose is it? Unfortunately, pausing the scene doesn't answer any questions, and you'll have to wait until episode 8 comes out.
Well, here we have the flight crew. Out of every which one of these top 10 movie moments, man, which the hell shocked you the most? I was very, very surprised that there wasn't a lot more different movie scenes in here, bro, because I'm pretty sure that if it was just a glitch, I'm pretty sure if it was just sexual, whether it was, man, there should have just been more, honestly, of a movie difference. Maybe it could have been like a top 20 most popular one. Maybe they would have had a chance to fit people into that. But hey, bro, as usual, flight crew, get down below in the comment section what you guys would like me to react to next, and get at me on social media, Flutterfly23. Why, you guys know where to find me.